Hello, everybody, and welcome back to another episode of In Between the Stitches. As always, I'm your host, Brady Wilson, and as always, I'm with my co-host, Chase Olschwanger.
What's up?
And, well, it's almost Christmas break for us. You know, we got this week and one more week for some people if you have exams, so hopefully, everyone's going to do good on them, studying like me, totally.
Totally.
Exactly, totally studying. But there's been a lot of sports. Baseball is the winter meetings this week. Football, hockey, basketball, all in full swing. We got college football playoff coming up in the next few weeks, right? We had the reaction to, and we'll get to all of it. But as always, we're going to start with hockey. Stars are still doing Stars things. They split 2 against Tampa Bay. Current record is 14-6-3. They're second in the Central Division, 5th in the Western Conference. We got a game against Florida tonight in Florida at 6. It's going to be on TNT, or if you have Max, it's going to be on there, which is really helpful because Fubo doesn't have TNT.
Yeah.
So, they're again kind of the same points we've been reiterating each week. They've been playing well. There's are they the world beaters that maybe we expected to be a little bit more? No, but I mean, after the Bruins last year, I think people's expectations became if you're not like that, then you're not serious or anything.
Yeah.
So. And they still lost in the first round. So, I mean, they've still been playing well.
Yeah.
There's splitting Tampa Bay was huge. You want to split that at least. Your goal should be to beat your other big Western Conference foes. And I know Tampa Bay is not in the Western Conference, but that should be your goal. Obviously, Vegas is 16-5-5. Colorado's at 16. The Kings are at 15. This is just wins. Vancouver at 16. So you're at 14. So you're there.
Right there in the swing of things.
Yeah, you're right there in the swing of things. So you got to beat Vegas and Colorado and the Kings and Vancouver and Winnipeg and Arizona and Nashville and Calgary and Minnesota slumping bad. Seattle's kind of regressed. Chicago is kind of in a rebuilding phase right now.
Yeah,
so
they look promising though.
Yeah, they do, but they're rebuilding.
Yeah, of course.
Currently. So Stars have looked good. I mean, at this point, it's just, hey, don't get anyone that's like too injured and stay healthy. Just get into the playoffs. You can make a run.
Yeah.
You have the team that can make a run in the playoffs. That is what I'm looking at. Is we have playoff experience in this team. They have playoff experience on the same team together. I think it's huge. Obviously, adding Duchesne he's new.
Yeah.
But everyone else was here last year.
Yeah, I mean, there's a few new guys, like some guys we lost. Like Domi, a really good attacker for us. But adding Duchesne kind of replaces that. Yeah. And there's a few guys in the defensive line that are new. So it's still very early in the season. It's going to take time to mesh.
Yeah,
and the Stars are still 14-6-3. I mean, it's a great record. If you have that same amount of win to loss ratio, you're going to be fine.
We're in a great place to be.
Yeah, it's fine. I mean, we could sound like a broken record every week talking about them, but there's nothing really new. I mean, they're playing good hockey. They're showing a little bit of inconsistency here and there, but it's early in the year and they'll be fine.
Yeah. So now we're going to move to basketball, and the Mavs regressed a little bit from their hot start. They're 11-8. They're 6th in the Western Conference. They've on a 2-game losing streak against Memphis, and then that heartbreaker against OKC, where they came all the way back.
30-0 run.
30-0 run. And then you still lose. That is the most DFW sports thing I think I've seen. You play Utah tonight in the American Airlines Center at 7:30. So I think, the Mavs are playing well. They started off so hot and everyone was firing. And then now everyone's kind of regressed at the same time, which when that happens, that's a bad thing.
Yeah.
You want to keep, it's kind of the same thing with baseball because, the season's long as well. Not as long, obviously, basketball and hockey aren't as long as baseball. But the same principles of, look, not everyone has to be hot at the same time, but you can't have everyone be cold.
I think not just baseball, but I think the perfect example is the Rangers in the regular season.
Yeah.
Leading the division all year, fumbling it the last month of the year, and then
winning the World Series.
I mean, there's not another story like that. So,
it's for the Mavericks, it's just, hey, again, I think the same points you're talking about with the Stars. You have the team that can, I think, win a championship. You just have to get into the playoffs and not have anyone awful get injured.
Yeah. Speaking of injuries, though, we didn't have Kyrie for that OKC game, which would have obviously helped. But they've had I think about 4 to 5 days off. Yeah, 5 days off, right? Because December 1st was the game. I remember talking about that on the last episode. They've had 5 days off So everybody should be in full swing and ready to go tonight. I have not seen any reports saying that anyone is out. So Mavs look healthy tonight. Back home, this is a game they should win.
Got to face the Joker. I do believe, right? Oh wait, no, Utah, not Denver.
Not Denver.
I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Well,
I mean, you're close on the map. I mean,
in my defense, when I was a kid, it's gonna sound weird. I could not tell them apart because their colors were the same, or they were very similar. I think a few years ago. So excuse that blunder from me. Yeah, we're facing the Joker. Oh wait, no, we do face him on December 18th. I see here, but not against Utah.
Face him 3 more times. But
excuse that one. Hey, maybe Jamal Murray will play. Is he still playing for them?
Yeah, he's back.
I know.
Yeah.
But maybe they'll put John Stockton in, or Karl Malone for the Jazz.
Yeah.
Well, who knows? They're not still playing. I didn't know that. Well, excuse that. So yeah, they're playing well. I mean, you gotta continue. You gotta get back
and
on
win
the winning
games
path.
like these.
I mean, your last win was Houston on the 28th. Then before that, you lost to the Clippers. And before that, the Lakers you won. Then you lost 2 more before that. So you're on a bit of a skid right now.
Can't be losing 2, winning 1. It's got to be winning 2, winning 3, losing 1.
Yeah. So hopefully we can keep it up. We got Portland after Utah, then Memphis back in Memphis after Portland, and then the Lakers. So you should probably beat Utah, and you should probably beat Portland. Memphis and Lakers could give you some problems. But speaking of the Lakers, the in-season tournament has had a lot of fun things happening. I know it's been like a playoff-like atmosphere there.
Exactly.
Which is I know some people like me were skeptical of the tournament because, well, it's kind of a weird concept, but I think the excitement is there.
Right. And I don't think people were bashing it. I mean, I wasn't bashing the idea.
I wasn't either.
I was just more of like,
I was skeptical.
Confused. It's like, okay, well, it's a cool idea, but like, what's the point, right? But watching the games and seeing how these teams are competing and seeing the kind of like playoff atmosphere in these arenas, it's really cool to see. And the players have something to compete for. And, they could be the first one ever. So that, that's cool to think about. I mean, yeah, it's not a huge idea, a huge deal, but being a first in something is history.
I mean, so who are the 2 teams that are still that are in it?
It's Indiana and Milwaukee. And then the Lakers versus Pelicans.
I want to say this, I really hope the Lakers win it. And the reason I'm saying that is I want to be able to clown and go, hey, look, LeBron, you won another championship. Yeah. Hey, Lakers, here's your McDonald's trophy.
And you already know people are going to be like, I didn't see Jordan win an in-season tournament.
Exactly. And that's the reason why just for the memes, and I think for the humor and the comedy of the Lakers winning, the New York Yankees of the NBA, and they win the tournament. Yeah. I think it would just be really, really funny.
On a real note, though, about LeBron, I mean, I don't know if you watched the game last night. It's just unbelievable what he's doing. I mean, it's unreal. I mean, it's really starting to get like, is this guy even real? I mean, it's been like that for years, but now it's like the dude's 39, almost 39 years old, and he's dropping 31, 11, and 8.
He's a great player. He has had.
It's like, how are you still a top player in this league?
He has had
39 years old.
He has had longevity. Now I will admit that probably in today's age, longevity may be a little bit easier because, well, it's not as physical as it used to be. It's possible you won't get as injured. Not saying it's easier. I'm just saying it's possible. I mean, we hear about Jordan and those guys. Those guys were beat up after just a few years. And LeBron gets some cupcake stuff, in the NBA now. But
no, still playing for
what he's still
years.
doing is still highly impressive.
It's unbelievable.
He's the most physically gifted basketball player of all time.
Oh yeah, he's the best basketball player of all time when it comes to being like a basketball player.
If we're talking physical talent, then yes. If you're still saying the GOAT, it's still going to be MJ.
I mean, it's 50-50. No, I'd like to go LeBron just because this is unbelievable. We're not going to see anything like this ever again.
No, we're probably. It's the same thing it's the same thing that I have to tell people. You have to separate the GOAT with the most talented player. Ohtani is the most talented player to ever play baseball because we haven't seen someone do this at the same time at his level. However, the GOAT is still Babe Ruth. And I would actually say and then you have the most physically gifted pitcher. Well, there's probably a lot of debate for that. The most physically gifted hitter is probably Barry Bonds.
Oh yeah,
probably.
Yeah.
He was the most physically gifted, position player. Pitcher, I may say it was Pedro, just because he was not a very big guy, and yet he was still able to have, he was still in way upper 90s.
Yeah.
So maybe throw John. There's a lot of pitchers you could argue, but I would also say the GOAT will always be Ruth. His level of dominance in his era is still unmatched. But
anyways, going back to the tournament,
yeah,
it's a fantastic idea.
It's working out. I think as well as they could have hoped.
Yeah, and the narrative that has changed for people. I'm not saying myself, just in general, the people that were hating on it or just more confused, like myself. It's completely changed. And Adam Silver, there's all these talks about, dude's the greatest commissioner of all time. Now, I have no idea. You have to go back and really think about what each commissioner did in their time. But Adam Silver, he cooked with these ideas, with the in-season tournament, with the bubble, a few years ago. He's done all these ideas that ended up working out beautifully. And it's, you got to give him credit.
I would definitely say he's the best commissioner in sports right now. I mean, you're not going to say it's not Rob Manfred. It's not Rob Manfred. I can't stress that enough. It is not Rob Manfred. It's not going to be Goodell, no. I think, just because he's so much inconsistency with his punishments towards players. I can't say he's been all that great. I don't know who the hockey commissioner is. Forgive me, all you hockey fans. I don't know who the commissioner is.
But Adam Silver, he thinks to do everything.
So it's hard to say. I can't really judge the hockey one because I don't know what problems have, arise or whatever word I'm looking for. I don't know what problems have occurred in the NHL, and he's stepped up, so I can't judge him. But of the three sports that I truly follow, Silver is the best commissioner, easily. Sure. He does good for the league. Again, Goodell I think is a really good commissioner.
He'll always get his hate, though.
But he's gonna always get his hate because of his inconsistency with his punishments, and the fact that they disproved Deflategate, still suspended Tom Brady. They disproved Ezekiel Elliott, having anything to do with that, or not having anything to do, but he didn't do what they said he did.
Yeah. And
he still suspended him for 6 games and cost us that 2017 season. I will always maintain that. He's done great financially. People forget that the commissioner. All these guys do. People forget that the commissioner of sports is really not there to serve the players or the fans. That are more to serve the owners,
right?
Especially in baseball. That was the whole point of the commissioner. Was he works for the owners? They have the power to oust him, and that was a bad thing. I hit my hand on the table.
Yeah,
but so financially, Rob Manfred has done a great job. There's a reason why he's still commissioner. Why they continue to renew his contract, because he continues to fill the the owners' pockets full of money. Same thing with Goodell. Goodell has orchestrated the biggest TV deals in sports. So he's done a terrific job. But, in terms of players, and, they had a bunch of domestic violence issues, right. And it's just not fun. So, but yeah, the tournament has been a great idea for Silver. Mm-hmm. Big win for him. I think solidifying his case as the best commissioner. So, yeah. Is there anything that you think we're forgetting for basketball?
No, and there's a lot more to cover every week. But for now, we'll move on.
And at this opportunity, I'd like to take that and say that the Rangers are World Series champions. Again, we'll be reminding you folks of that each week that we're with you. So we won it. we won the World Series. I don't know how many times that everyone else has watched. I have a playlist that I created, and it's all the games we won in the playoffs in order, so I can just go back and just start watching. I've watched Game 5 at least, I'd say 20 times in the time that we've won, if not more. I've watched the Game 1 highlights at least 15 or 20 times just because it makes me just super excited every time.
I've watched the one mixtape or highlight reel of just the playoffs.
I've watched all the highlight reels, everything.
Starting with the Rays and ending with the Diamondbacks.
It was truly magical. Yeah. So, but the Rangers have done some off-season things, especially this week. So we had the Rule 5 draft today. We lost a minor league pitcher. I don't have his name here in front of me, but we lost him. He's going to be the minor leagues. But we did lose Justin Slayton, who was a right-handed pitcher to the Mets. So he was in our MLB.com top 30. So that's kind of unfortunate to lose him. But obviously, if you don't know what the Rule 5 draft is, any player that's not on your 40-man roster, other teams can take. The stipulation is that player has to remain on the other team's roster for the entire first season that he's there. If they decide to take, unless he's injured, they cannot send him down to the minors. If they choose to get rid of him, they first have to offer him back to the team that they drafted him from. So with Slayton, if the Mets don't like him, and in June they decide to pull the plug on it and say, hey, they have to offer him back to us, so we have the chance to take him back if we don't want to, which I assume we would. If we don't, then he goes through waivers and the whole process.
Right.
Well, if a guy's injured, you can stash him, but you still have to prove that there was an injury. And the Rangers took a right-handed pitcher, Carson Coleman. Had a really good year in 2022 with the Yankees, was the Double-A closer for him. And, but he had elbow surgery. They haven't disclosed whether it was Tommy John or not. I'm kind of surprised that no one knows. Usually everyone knows, what's wrong with you nowadays. So if it was Tommy John or something significant, then he'd open the year on the 60-day and you could stash him. And that is something that is very smart. And then next year, he's here, or middle of the season. So had a really good year in Double-A. His fastball graded out as a 70, which is excellent. It's a great fastball, and he's got a good slider. So he's 2-pitch reliever, not going to be a starter, but hey, it's bullpen help.
Yeah,
any reliever will do. Get me. It's the philosophy that when the Rangers were sucking, me and my dad still have, and we still have it today, which is he breathing? Can he throw the baseball? All right, sign him. Or at least take a look at
right.
him. Every pitcher's needed.
Speaking of bullpen help.
But speaking of bullpen help, the Rangers signed ex-Braves and Padres right-hander Kirby Yates to a 1-year, $4.5 million deal. Probably not the Josh Hader signing everyone wanted for the first reliever, but I mean he's a solid reliever.
Yeah.
Had a really good year last year.
I think posting a 3.28 ERA. So, a guy that's going to come in for you 6th, 7th, 8th inning,
yeah,
you take that.
Probably behind Spores, I would say. He may be a 7th inning guy. 7-2 record, which is interesting for a reliever. I always find it interesting when they have a high number.
Well, of course, it's the Braves. You're tied with you get the Braves to come up to bat. Right. You're gonna.
He was injured in 2021. I believe he did have Tommy John. Was pretty bad with the Rays, actually, which is kind of interesting. And then he was with the Angels and was very bad. Then got picked up by the Padres, and then of course everyone remembers in 2018 and 19 was just absurd. Especially in 2019, was an All-Star, a 1.19 ERA. He saved 41 games. He's not that pitcher anymore. He's a little bit older. He is currently 36 years old. He'll turn 37 in March. So
start the year.
He will be an aged old veteran pitcher, but he can still give you quality innings.
Yeah.
Is he better than a Yuri Rodriguez or something like that? Yes. I can confirm he should be better than someone of that nature. I fully expect the Rangers to sign maybe 2 more relievers. It sounds like Jordan Hicks. I'd be all in on Jordan Hicks, and then I'd bring back Chapman. Why not? There's your 3. I'd be very happy with that offseason. I don't think we're gonna make any big trades. I know because we've had such success the past 2 off seasons, everybody's expecting us to, we're gonna sign everybody, we're gonna trade for Soto, and we're gonna sign Ohtani. It's like, no, we're not. Look, I love what we've done, but they probably want to cut a little bit of payroll, but not a ton. So, and I understand that. So, probably not gonna get anyone too crazy. I could see him bringing back Will Smith. Bochy really likes him. He was his guy in San Francisco. I understand.
Well, wherever he goes, he's going to be a World Series champion.
And he won. And he's, last 3 years. So let's go ahead and make it 4 in a row, which has obviously never happened. 3 in a row never happened. So, at least with different teams. So, I mean, it's nothing crazy, but I think right now, every baseball fan, especially Rangers fans, we're starving for something.
Yeah.
Because I think once the Ohtani domino falls, I think you're going to get a flurry of moves. Honestly, I think that we haven't seen a free agent like Ohtani in 4 years. Whenever the Harper Machado fiasco was, that was like the last time we had generational type players. Ohtani's better than them combined, I'd say, if he pitches again. So we haven't seen a guy like this in free agency and then before that, I mean, I can't speak to the 2000s and 2010s, but the first one that pops to mind is Barry Bonds in the mid 90s after he left Pittsburgh.
Yeah.
So, I mean, it's just, you have a significant free agent, and I think everyone is waiting to see. Yamamoto is waiting to see because it sounds like he wants to go where there's a Japanese player. Although I also heard a report that he command like $300 million, which is absurd.
Yeah.
I think even if he's great, I still think it's a dumb move because
imagine the Dodgers got both. They'd be putting $1 billion into two people.
Go ahead.
Yeah.
I mean, it did not my money, but I think that everyone's waiting to see where Ohtani falls, and I think on the trade market, people are waiting to see where Soto falls.
Yeah,
which we'll get to that in just a second. But I mean, we will see. But my prediction is that Ohtani is holding everything up because everybody. Sound like the GMs I feel like they're starting to get fed up with it though. That Ohtani, and I'm not knocking Ohtani on this, but I think he's enjoying that he's being chased. He was chased as an international prospect, and I think we were actually the runner-ups for him. People forget that. I believe we were the runner-ups for Ohtani before he came here in 2018, and the Angels snagged him. I think it's funny that the Angels are still a finalist.
Yeah,
he's still considering them. Which, on one hand, I'm like. I mean, on one hand, as a Rangers fan, I'm kind of like, oh, I don't want to see him in our division, but at the same time, they're not going to do anything. So, ha ha ha.
Yeah.
But on the other hand, as a baseball fan, I'm like, no, please, don't go back to the Angels. If I was the Angels, I'm trading Trout. I'm letting Ohtani go. I don't want any. They're
not trading Trout though.
They should. Yeah. How many times we've heard Mike Rizzo said, I am not trading Juan Soto. 100%. And then a few weeks later, well, I'm open to offers. And the next week, well, I think I'm going to trade him. So whenever someone says I'm 100% not trading this guy, that means nothing. Absolutely nothing. It has happened before. It honestly could be. It's usually a tactic to try and get teams to overpay, which a team would overpay for Trout. So it may work in the Angels' favor. But like right now, they have no prospects. They have nothing. Nobody. They traded most of their really decent ones to the White Sox, and at the deadline because they're idiots and decided that we're going to go all in a division with the Mariners, Astros, and Rangers.
Yeah,
and with the AL East juggernauts. On one hand, as the rival, I'm laughing at their failure. As another hand, as a baseball fan, I'm like, dang,
what are you doing?
Yeah, what are you? They're wasting Trout and they're wasting Ohtani, but. I don't think Ohtani would leave. I think Ohtani would leave. I don't think he would go back. So if he comes here, great. I don't think he will.
No.
I still think he's probably going to go to the Dodgers, which is just
it's the safest bet.
They need to do some sanctions on them. That's unfair. Betts, Freeman, and then Ohtani. Like no, that can't happen. Nope. To be fair, though, they have no pitching.
Yeah.
So, I guess we could say that, Luis Urias is, Julio. Sorry, I was getting the infielder mixed up. Julio Urias is, he's gone. He's probably out of baseball. I think the Dodgers should sign Trevor Bauer.
Yeah.
Apparently, he's at the winter meetings, and him and his agent. And if I was the Rangers, I would sign him. Yeah, he's a bit of a head case, but he's a good player. And I know there were 2 other counts that he is yet to fight, but I would be willing to assume that they may be along the first one was, if you haven't seen anything from it, she lied. Like 100, there is, yep, you could take that to court. She lied 100%. The other 2, we don't know yet.
Yeah.
That is, you have to make a note of that. But the major one, the one that got famous, the one that got him suspended, was a complete hoax. She fabricated the entire thing. It was a complete. It was a cash grab. There were text messages between her and her friends saying, "Oh, he makes this much money. Oh, you better bleed him dry," or something like that. So it's like, yeah, you ruin a man's career. Good for you. I hope you're happy. She should go to jail, but that's my opinion. Anyway, I think Bauer should get re-signed by somebody. And get apologized and get an apology from Rod Manfred and the Dodgers, but they're not going to. But the Dodgers are probably going to stay away from Bauer, especially with Julio Urias, having a domestic violence thing. So they're probably not going to want to.
Walker Buehler, though.
Buehler, but he's so injury prone. Same thing with Dustin May. Yeah, they're great, but how many starts can they make for you? Are they going to be healthy for the playoffs? And they lost Lance Lynn. Who's in the rotation? Kershaw was injured. So he won't be ready until middle of next year.
I have no idea.
They don't have anybody. They have Gonsolin. I think he was injured too. Didn't he have Tommy John? Yeah, he had Tommy John. So who in the hell are they going to have pitching for them next year? So, yeah, you may score 8 runs, but, hey, we know this problem, Chase. We've lived this problem. Score 8, but give up 9. That's been the Rangers' problem, for their entire history. So, hey, look, the Dodgers are finally going to need to experience what we've had to experience. You're averaging 6 runs a game, but your team ERA is 8.
Yeah.
So we'll see, but, the Dodgers are in some trouble. Jim Leland got in the Hall of Fame. The Hall of Fame contemporary ballot voted. Lou Piniella was 1 away. Like, that has to hurt, because I don't know when they'll vote again on managers. He may not be alive.
Yeah.
I don't know the next time they'll vote on managers.
But Leland was deserving.
Leland was very deserving. Out of everyone on the ballot, if I had to rank the ballot that I gave my 4 votes, it would have been, and then who I thought was deserving, it would have been Leland 1, Piniella 2, Bill White 3, Davey Johnson 4. Davey got less than 5. Not surprising. I don't think everyone else is going to view him as a Hall of Famer. I'm going to view him as a Hall of Famer, but that's just me. Bill White was 2 votes shy, very deserving. Unfortunately, did not get it. And then obviously Piniella 1 vote shy. He's, again, very deserving. Yeah. But Leland, division, great. So those great teams with the Pirates, with Bonds and Andy Van Slyke and Bobby Bonilla and Doug Drabeck, and some really great teams in the early 90s with the Pirates. Couldn't win the big one. Then in 97, goes to the Marlins, wins the big one. Then Wayne Huizenga tears everything down. So then he goes to Colorado and just didn't like the brand of baseball. He was a pitcher's manager, kind of like Bochy, who, he didn't like winning 7-6 or 11-8. That wasn't his style. His style was, I win 3-1.
Yeah.
And then, takes a little bit of a hiatus, like Boch, and then goes to Detroit. 06 World Series, lost to the Cardinals, and then 12 World Series, lost to the Giants, lost to Bruce Bochy. So, very good managerial career, very deserving, and I'm very happy that he got in. I'm happy that he's getting his flowers,
yes.
I'd say. So,
yes.
Again, next, and then, the other Hall of Fame ballot, the main one, I'm gonna do an update here in a second. I got to get the tracker up. There's a really good tracker by Ryan Thibodeau. He does an excellent job on Twitter with the Hall of Fame tracker. He posts the ballots that are, if a writer decides to post his, he'll put it in a tracker if he finds out, who each guy voted for. Currently, through 9 ballots that are public and 2 that are anonymous, so we have 11 ballots that are known. Adrian Beltre is currently sitting at 100%, as he should. There's no argument to say he's not a Hall of Famer. Bartolo Colon got a vote. I think it was kind of fun.
I think that's good.
Todd Helton has 10 of the 11. He's at 90%. He's a Hall of Famer. Andrew Jones at 63%. Joe Mauer's at 72.7. Pettit's only at 18. Manny Ramirez is at 45.5. A-Rod's only at 9. So it steroids.
Yeah.
And this is a steroids issue that's not like, well, he may have taken, like Clemens. It was alleged. No. They tested him. He admitted to it. He took steroids. Gary Sheffield's at 72.7 his final year. Chase Utley's at 54. And then Billy Wagner, very deserving, is at 63.6. So, again, I still think it's going to be 3. I think it's going to be Beltre, Helton, and Wagner.
Mm-hmm.
I think I could be wrong. I have been wrong in the past. We're going to move farther into the offseason here. The Yankees are targeting Juan Soto. They are apparently close. It sounds like Drew Thorpe and Michael King could be 2 of the big headliners going back to San Diego. I feel bad for San Diego fans because their window was small because they were not a big market team.
No.
They spent like it because they wanted to. And is it Peter Seidler, I think was his name? He was the owner, just passed away, rest in peace. But he was the guy that was fitting the big bill, and now they're going to have to cut payroll, especially with him no longer being there. They have to cut. This family is going to want to cut payroll, significantly. And so that means Soto's going to be gone. And probably maybe some other pieces. I feel bad for Padres fans because they had a very tiny window, and they did absolutely nothing with it. No. They got to the NLCS last year. That's cool. Yeah. But, I do feel bad because I it's like, man, you guys were really close. but for some reason, injuries and some freak things and taking a tapeworm medication and everything else, I mean, you just couldn't catch a break in a lot of areas. So unfortunately for them. But, the Yankees getting Soto would be huge, especially with, you could pee over that right field fence, and Soto's a lefty. So he's just Soto may hit 50 home runs. Obviously, the Ohtani rumors, he may sign by Sunday. Yeah, he may sign by Christmas. I don't know. Nobody knows.
We're just going to have to wait. That's all it is, really.
It's just, I'm waiting for that.
It's just a waiting game.
I'm waiting for that notification. I'm waiting for that,
breaking.
Breaking news. Shohei Ohtani signs with X team. Mets signed Luis Severino, 1 year, $13 million. Kind of funny. He's
got to travel a lot to get to his new destination.
The Braves traded for Jared Kelenic. I would say failed prospect with the Mariners. Mariners got Jackson, I'm going to say Kowar, but I could be mispronouncing that, and pitcher Cole Phillips. So they got a decent, piece. They got two. I mean, I know Kowar is a pretty significant prospect. They got Kelenic. They just flipped Marco Gonzalez to the Pirates, and then they got Evan White. Don't know why they traded for Evan White. They have Matt Olson, but I guess, hey, depth. Depth is always a good thing. So it's a good trade from both sides. But then the Red Sox have made two nice trades. I want to make a note. I'm going to remember. I can't remember his name now. Craig Breslow, won a championship with him, is their new GM. And he has made two interesting trades so far in the offseason. And I think are very good for the Red Sox. The first one being trading Luis Urias to, no, I don't want to sign up. Trading Luis Urias to the Mariners, and they got, I can't remember his name. They got a reliever for him. Isaiah Campbell, I believe, was who they got. Obviously, has had a really good start, a flamethrower for the Mariners. We saw him against us towards the end of the season. Looked really good.
Yeah.
He's kind of a big guy, got a mustache.
Yeah.
He looked really good, and then I thought that was like a total win. No offense to Luis Urias, but he has just not produced much on the offensive side. So to get a solid reliever for him, I think was a good get.
Then the big one.
And the big one yesterday, Alex Verdugo goes to the Yankees. Obviously, there were famous trades between the Red Sox and Yankees. The most famous one being Babe Ruth, $100,000 to the Yankees, so that Harry Frazee could finance a play. The Red Sox got prospect Richard Fitz, Greg Weissert, and Nicholas Judas. I hope I'm saying that right. And Yankees got Verdugo. So Verdugo was the headliner in the Mookie Betts deal. So I kind of look at this as like they've turned the Betts deal into these guys now. So if they produce it, it's the same tree, same branch, right? I know Fitz is the top prospect. I know Fitz is I think Fitz is the 12th ranked prospect for the Yankees on MLB.com.
Yeah.
So
Red Sox put in some work.
Breslow's done a great job. He understands that like this year, you're not going to compete as much. I mean, you have a decent team, but nothing that's like too crazy. Maybe you sneak in, but we'll see. But I like the moves, some long-term moves for the Red Sox. The Orioles are close on Craig Kimbrell. That'd be a huge get for them. And then the Cleveland, I hate saying this, the Cleveland Guardians. I wish they were
2% chance wins the draft lottery.
They won it. I feel bad for the A's because they're at the 4th overall pick.
Yeah.
I mean, it's not like it's another really good draft class, especially at the top. And the baseball draft is guys fall not because of talent, but because of we can't sign him, right? That's how the Rangers got Kumar Rocker, and then they got Brock Porter. We don't have a second and third round pick because it's Marcus Semien and Corey Seager, so we'll take Porter and just offer him that money. Very smart. It worked out completely so far. I mean, it looks good in the minors. So Cleveland won the lottery. Good for them. I don't know the prospects. Again, just getting into the MLB draft last year was the first year I actually looked at probably more than 3 or 4 names. So getting more into it. It's going to be a slow process for me because I'm obviously the football draft is that's my thing.
Yeah.
But we'll see. Now to college football. We had a great weekend of football.
Unbelievable.
I want to make a note of that. Michigan and Iowa was actually a decent game. Texas clobbered Oklahoma State. Big man.
Iowa put up 0, but yeah. Iowa put up 0.
Yeah, but it was close for most of it. They were not out of it.
Well, you knew it was going to be a low-scoring game because both defenses are... Well, Iowa's offense isn't just good, and then Iowa's defense obviously is what made them a ranked team.
Yeah.
But you knew it was going to be a low-scoring game.
The score does not indicate that they were close. It was close for a good part of the game.
Yeah.
And then you had Georgia and Bama. That was just an excellent game. I'm keeping a notepad that I'm making notes just because, you never know what may come up in a couple years. Hey, that player, remember him? Yeah, he's now a top prospect in the draft. Or I see him low in the draft and I forget. I'm like, oh, I remember him playing in that game. Wow, he did really well. Make a note on that. There was some controversy in that game, but I don't think anything too awful. I mean, it was a really good game. Georgia clearly is not the same Georgia that won a national championship.
No.
But that's what happens when I think it was it 34 players on their defense, or was it 34 players, or was it on their team that's in the NFL, all drafted? Like, I remember the commentators were like, man, this Alabama, running offense is working. Georgia's not getting anything up the middle. And I'm like, yeah, because their two run stoppers are on the Eagles right now. Carter and Davis are gone. That's what happens. And then you lose your linebackers, and then you lose everybody.
Yeah.
They still got a great secondary, and we'll see them play in a bowl game, but they're not the top four. Speaking of the top four, and the Pac-12 was a great game.
Big 12, Texas dominated, and Big 10, we already talked about.
Bo Nix looked good. Penix looked better. Washington looked like a really good team. So it was a really good game. Then you have the controversy. Florida State beat Louisville in what was an ugly football game. Not fun to watch. There were some drives that the defenses were both really good. And there were some drives where the offenses were just really, really bad. And you saw that from both sides. I was rooting so hard for Louisville because it would have made the decision so easy and without any controversy. But college football did a thing. And when they won, I was like, welp, crap. My mom was like, what do you mean crap? Were you not rooting for Florida State? I'm like, well, now you've got 5 teams that deserve to get in 4 spots. And you can't knock Michigan out. You can't knock Texas out. Sorry, you can't knock Michigan or Washington out.
Yeah.
You don't want to knock Texas or Bama out, but Florida State's undefeated. So what do you go with? If you were going with the regular season, then Florida State and Texas would have gotten in. Bama would have been out. But if you just consider the last couple weeks, and I know that Alabama almost lost to Auburn, and everyone's going to state that, well, if the big, was it the 4th and 31? Was that what it was?
Mm-hmm.
If that hadn't converted, they wouldn't even been in the conversation. You're right. 100% would not have been in the conversation. Even if they beat Georgia, it didn't matter. It's 2 losses. You're not getting in over Florida State. Even if you beat number 1 Georgia, I still don't think that qualifies you. But I always say rivalry games are different than regular games because rivalries are different. I can tell you this, when you play in a rivalry game, it does not matter if there's a skill gap. Auburn has proved that every single year. It does not matter if there's a skill gap. Most of the time, that game is a very competitive game.
Yeah.
Not because Auburn's very good, but because it's just a rivalry game. They play up to the competition of Alabama.
Yeah. So
I know people were trying to say that, but I don't think everyone does what I do, which is it was a rivalry game, so I give Alabama a little bit of breathing room because
Washington and Washington State. Washington State had no business being in that game.
Yeah,
but they were.
I understand that it's a rivalry game. That's going to happen. You're going to have games, where teams aren't competitively the same on the same level, but they play like it because everyone wants to win that game. Whether it's a sign involved, like for our high school, it's the 287, it's the Battle 287. And I can tell you that the NS game is the big one circled on the calendar each year because we want to win that game, and so do they. And I feel like the last couple of years, they haven't been as good as us, but they've still hung in the game because it's a rivalry game. You never count that team out in a rivalry game, and you never do it. So next year, this is a problem that will not happen next year. Because next year we'll be debating whether this 2 or 3 lost team should get in. It'll be a lot easier and a lot more streamlined. The new problem facing college football will be the NIL, which I'm sure me and you could probably talk for 30 minutes about how. And I want to say one thing, and it's, as a kid, I didn't grow up watching college football. The only memory I have as a kid was 2013 Iron Bowl, the kick 6. That's it. It's the only thing I remember. Everything else I didn't watch. The first time I truly watched multiple college football games in a season was Joe Burrow's 2019 year with LSU. Before that, I didn't watch anything. Not because I didn't care. Well, I mean, not because I didn't like it. I didn't care. I simply didn't. I didn't have a team. None of my parents went to a Division I college. None of my grandparents went to Division I college. I had no Division I college football team to root for. None. No college in the family. The closest family college would be Texas A&M.
Right.
So like I have a big soft spot for them, but that's it. I rooted for the Texas teams. If I heard that they were winning, I was happy, but I didn't watch. But then I started to watch, and I enjoyed college football. But every time I'd tell people that I don't really watch it all that much, they'd go, "Oh, it's so much better than the NFL," and I would always disagree because the NFL is strategic. Everyone is about the same, competitively. I know there are guys that are just studs. There are, but the teams themselves are pretty competitive. Any given Sunday, so you have to be smarter than your opponent. I'm like, but in college you don't have to. Well, I have 25 stars. You have 1. We're just going to run right past you because we're better. That's not football. That's backyard football. That's not strategic. There's no scheming. There's no strategy in it, or at least not at every school. The only time you get scheming and strategy is Alabama versus Georgia because, well, finally you have 2 teams that are even. And everyone will say, yeah, but the college game, these guys are playing, they're not playing for money. The NFL is so, it's all corporate. Those guys just care about getting their game check. They don't really care about, football. They're not playing for the love of the game. These guys, you can't say that anymore. These guys are completely, and I always I never had a comeback for it because I'm like, well, they don't get paid. You're right. But I always felt like, but if they could get paid, you would see them all become greedy and just like the NFL players are. And guess what happened? That. Now you're seeing there's zero loyalty. Yeah. High school recruiting means nothing now. Literally, I truly believe high school recruiting means nothing because nobody's staying with their teams. I understand if you transfer because, well, playing time issues or the coaching staff got changed up and I didn't want to play for this coach. I wanted to play for that coach, not this new one, right? I understand if you got to change for something like that. But nowadays it's just, well, I'm gonna go get paid more. I mean, Matt Rule said it costs between $1 and $2 million in the transfer portal for a quarterback. That's ridiculous. It's absolutely ridiculous that it's costing. It's free agency. I'm gonna butcher his name. Let's call him DJU, guy from Clemson, went to Oregon State, transferring. Tyler Buckner, or not Buckner, the guy from McCord, Ohio State, transferring. Why are you transferring to Ohio State? It's Ohio State. I know they're losing MHJ, but it's Ohio State. Where else are you going to go?
Yeah.
Who could offer you a better position than Ohio State? Nobody. I know Bama and Georgia, but they're on the same level, in my opinion. Michigan, same level. There's no loyalty anymore. There's no high school recruiting that matters. It's all that matters is, oh, cool, you recruited this guy as a freshman, now he leaves because you didn't play him as a true freshman, or you redshirted him, so now he's going to transfer because he's, ticked off at you. You could just, if I was a college coach, I'd barely do any high school recruiting. I would only recruit the transfer portal. And you know what? I'd probably win because these guys are actually college players. I'm not recruiting high school players. No. I'm going to recruit these other guys. And unfortunately, the schools that have the biggest boosters are going to win because, SMU in the 80s, before the death penalty.
Right.
They had, the Pony Express, Craig James and Eric Dickerson. Excellent. You know why? Because they got paid. Yeah. They paid for that backfield. They paid for those teams, and they won. If you're going to cheat, at least win. They did. And they got the death penalty, and they're fine resurrecting. But nowadays, it's that, but every team can do it. It's completely legal, and whoever has the biggest boosters are going to win. Yeah. And that's not college. That's not fun. That's not the college football that everyone always talked about. That's even more corporate than the NFL. At least the NFL, you see more guys re-sign with their team.
Right.
In college, there's
a lot of money.
For a lot of money, but of course, a lot of money.
Yeah.
Of course, naturally, they're going to get a lot of money, but I think they still play for a lot of them still play because they love football.
Mm-hmm.
Let me tell you something. I know you get paid millions of dollars, and people say, "Well, I get paid millions to do that." It's like, yeah, go actually try to do it. No, you probably would quit because it's that tough on your body. And not only that, but the risks of CTE and all that. Those guys are earning their paychecks. It's not easy. I played a year in high school. I played high school wasn't easy. I can't imagine what the NFL is like.
Yeah.
So college players deserve to get compensated, but as much as they're getting, no, it's ballooning way too much, and it's going to pop, and it's ruining the fun of college football because every year now it's like, wow, he was a great player for that team. Can't wait till he comes back. Oh, he's transferring. Look at UNT. Look at UNT. Macklin and Rogers are two best offensive players. Gone.
Mm-hmm.
They're transferring.
But that's for a different reason. These are guys that are going to be more. You're not going to go to the league and be noticed as much here.
Here's the problem with that, and this is why that's good. That right there is going to cause so many problems. It's going to be the Yankees versus the A's. The big top 15 schools with the biggest boosters are going to get all the talent because they can pay for it. The schools like UNT, the schools that are in the lower conferences, are going to get good players. They're going to train these players. They're going to develop them over a year or two, and they're going to be really, really good.
And they leave.
And then instead of staying here, we're a minor league team. We're Division I. We're in the American. Right? That's a big conference.
Mm-hmm.
It's probably the biggest of the lower level. Is it the Power Five and then what Group of Five? What they call it? Could be wrong, but we're in the lower of the conferences, but probably the top of the lower conferences if it's not, the Mountain West, which is a pretty good conference with, Boise and all that. But we're a minor league team. Everyone that's in these lower conferences, like we're on the minor leagues because we're going to develop all these players, and then the big guys are just going to take them from us because they can, and I'm not going to get noticed at UNT. So, it's going to even out the playing field in the upper levels of college football. I think the SEC you're going to see the SEC even out amongst those schools. You're going to see the Big 12 and Big 10, those schools. You're going to see all that kind of even out with talent because of the transfer portal. But instead of one school having all the top guys, it's going to be some of those top guys leave. But there's just one of the best parts of college football was you could hire a coach and he could build a program. He could recruit high school talent. He could have his pipeline states, right? If I was take Sark, for example, take Texas. Man, Texas is the top one there's 3 states hotbeds for high school football talent. Florida, Texas, California.
Mm-hmm.
He's in one of them. He's in the most notable school in that state. And he's going to recruit guys. Is it Anthony Hill from Denton Ryan, right, the linebacker? I'm probably going to misremember his name, but they got a big linebacker from Denton Ryan, he was one of the top prospects in his class. So you're getting Texas guys. Quinn Ewers from South Lake Carroll. Right. That's gone now. These guys may not transfer, but the other guys might. There's no loyalty. There's no ability to build a program anymore. It's simply going to be building through the transfer portal.
Arch Manning's showing loyalty.
Arch Manning's here.
Ewers is coming back next year, and Manning's still going to stay. Manning could very well transfer and be the guy.
Yeah, and I'm happy he may stay because I think he understands that if he stays, for 2 years he could be the guy in Texas.
Yeah.
So, and it's great. I applaud that. I want to see more loyalty. I understand if you had a transfer. I had a buddy who just won with SMU this year, played at LSU. He left LSU because he realized, look, I'm a good player, but I'm not good enough to compete against these other 5-star guys that they're signing. I'm going to transfer to somewhere else and become a starter. And he did. He was getting a lot of playing time at SMU as a corner. Great. That's fine. That's not having loyalty. That's just you kind of bit off a little more than you can chew.
It's
maybe
just being realized. It's just realization.
Yeah.
I can still have the chance of going to the NFL and going to the league if I'm out there more, no matter where I am.
Right. And so,
UNT, for example, they produced NFL guys.
Yeah.
And there's NFL guys on this roster right now. Now, not going to be there next year with us next year, but there's guys that are very capable of going to the league no matter where you are.
That's what's frustrating is the transfer portal is a good tool, but it's becoming the way to build a team now. Yeah. And it's just, I feel like, next year now, obviously college football is changing and we could all, argue, is it for the better? Is it for the worse? There's a lot of arguments to be made about that, but I would argue it's probably for the worst in some ways. Hold on, I'm looking at something. It says that the Red Sox ended up with Justin Slayton instead of the Mets. So I guess no. So the Red Sox have acquired right-hand pitcher Justin Slayton from the New York Mets in exchange for a minor league left-hand pitcher Ryan Emerson Cash. I thought they had to offer him back to us. Never mind. Well, I guess the Rule 5 maybe they changed. I don't know. Anyway, off of college football now.
Well, I do want to talk about one more thing. We didn't really talk about our opinion on the 4 teams that made it.
I've been ranting
the biggest part about this.
FSU, look, on one hand, it's like you can't vote him.
I remember you texted me before the night, your 14 prediction, which is what I thought it would be. Now, I had 2 different opinions. I texted my friends. I was like, okay, I think it will be Michigan, Washington, FSU, Texas, right? What I wanted it to be was a different story. I wanted it to be Michigan, Washington, Texas, Bama. And that's what it was. Because let's be real. Yes, FSU, all the history, first Power 5 undefeated conference champion, did not make the college football playoff ever. But let's be real. They're going to get destroyed. And this will be a big test. They're going to go play Georgia now. They're going to play Georgia. And, we're going to see what would have happened if they would have made the playoffs.
Well, like I said, there was an edge rusher. I can't remember the other guy next to Jared Verse that Patrick, I think something, and I can't remember his name, but he's transferring.
Yeah.
So you quit complaining. You're transferring.
Yeah.
You're getting out of Dodge. Like I don't get that. You were complaining and whining about how unfair it was. Now you're leaving for somewhere else. Yeah. It just that really irked me.
And you got to feel for Jordan Travis because he was on social media being like, I wish I tore my ACL or whatever.
I broke his leg.
His leg earlier in the year so he could see what the team would have done. Now, no, they would not have been undefeated without him.
No, let's be real. And I mean, let's be real. I mean, look, does it suck? Yes. And I'm the first one to say that it shouldn't have happened. But as a college football guy I'm now a fan, and as someone who wants to watch, the games,
any of these 4 teams could win it.
Michigan would have probably killed them.
Yeah.
Probably. I mean, could FSU?
Well, they probably would have been the 3 seed, but they would have played face Washington, who I think Washington is the better team than Michigan. I think Washington is better, and I think they would have gotten even killed by even more. But me personally, I know it's a controversial topic, and we'll move to NFL in here in a second, but I think the committee made the right decision. I think they did. I know it was really, really hard, and you knew someone was going to get mad either way, whether it was Texas, because Texas beat Bama in the regular season, so why would Bama make it over them? That's because they're SEC, whatever, right? Bama beat Georgia, best team in the country, hasn't lost in 35-plus games, whatever it was. And then Florida State, undefeated, but I think they made the right decision. I do. I know it really does suck, and I think that Florida State should be in, but I think they made the right decision. I think going forward and looking at now,
there's only one way they can justify it.
Yeah.
And that is the fact that there is...
If Florida State competes versus Georgia, that'll do the talking itself.
Now, there is a clause in the college football playoff committee that says they have a right to rule that one of the factors in the decision can be injuries that can affect the team's performance.
Yeah. No, and
or have affected the team's performance throughout the season. So, let's say that Travis was gone the first 5 weeks, and they lost a game, and then he comes back and tears it up. Then maybe they could say, well, they were without him. If they had him, they would have won. Right? It works vice versa. It worked with Jalen Milroe, who sucked the first few weeks and then has really turned it on the last few weeks, right? So, because that clause is there, all right, Craig Kimbrell is to the Orioles.
Yep,
so,
confirmed.
Confirmed. I think because that clause is there, and you can look at it and say, yep, right here it says they have a right to rule on injuries that would affect the team's performance. The quarterback's the most important part of the team.
Yeah.
Unfortunately,
and we watched it the last 3 weeks without him. I mean,
they looked against Florida.
That was the backup. They had a third string,
and that was the true backup that would have played in the college football playoff game.
And they didn't look all that whatever. But it was just like it's just unfortunate for Florida State. Yeah. It really is, because they are a good team and they have one of the best defenses, if not the best defense in the world. In college football.
Yeah, it was wonderful.
But because of one guy,
and I hate that. I hate saying it because your quarterback's out. You don't deserve to get in. But you have to think. This is a great example of why the 12 team's coming next year.
Yeah.
Because
it should have been this year.
It should have. And I actually thought maybe could they have said, okay, we have a proposition. Emergency 16, and J.J. Watt made a point. He was like, I have a why don't they do this? Emergency 16 playoff. Top 2 teams get a bye. Then the bottom 4 will play, and then, we'll see it. We'll do it like the NFL. The seeding.
So it would have been Florida State versus Georgia anyway.
So let's do that. Let's just have it like that. Because then that way Georgia and FSU get it. Because I think Georgia was deserving of it too. Even though they lost to Bama, they still deserved
yeah, I mean they shouldn't have made it over any of the seedings they had correct. The seedings they had were correct.
But it's the problem that is with college football right now, which is it's a committee. It was the late great Mike Leach. There was a video that resurfaced of him saying, so there's a committee of people that didn't play football, but yet because they tell us that they know that college football, they have a right to vote on who's the playoff teams.
Yeah.
So by the NFL, I think they should go to I think super conferences would have fixed the issue. Just say, look, no more SEC, Big 12, Big 10, no more all these conferences. You have like the East and the West, and it's super conference or whatever, and we split it up maybe in like divisions within that conference, or something along those lines. But then you do it like the NFL, where the NFL doesn't vote on who gets in the playoffs. Because if they voted, the Cowboys would like be the number one seed every year because everyone would want to see the Cowboys.
Right.
So it's done by record. Who is better than who? I actually found a guy had a TikTok video, a TikTok slideshow of all of how he would fix it, and it was broken up by region, and it was 3 tiers in each one. So tier 1 teams, tier 2, tier 3. You play your tier full of teams, and you play one from each of the other tiers. And then you play some non-conference. I'm like, that's really good. It was a really well thought out idea. I'm like, it would have fixed a lot of issues. But anyway, we will do more college football, as coming week.
Well, there's not much more to talk about. They're not going to play till New Year's, but
so we'll talk about it then.
Yeah.
The NFL. So, hey, the comeback is still on. I went up on Chase. I got plus 2 more this week. I picked the 49ers over the Eagles.
So what is it?
That one?
Up 8 or up 6?
I think I'm up. I think you're up 6 now.
Okay.
Somewhere in there. I went 11-2. You went 9-4. I picked the Packers. I'm so happy I changed that.
Yeah.
I'm so happy I changed that. I'm like, I was very, very excited that I did that.
And listen, I remember saying that if I want to go Packers too, I'm just not going to bet against Mahomes because the Packers have a great shot of winning this game.
And they did.
But they did.
And I was...
Even though that was a terrible no call at the end of the game, and Chiefs could have won that game. But what are you going to do? That was a horrendous call.
Right. So, it was bad.
Or no call, actually.
Yeah, no call. So, Seahawks, Cowboys, I don't know about everyone else, but I almost had a stroke during that game. It was not fun. The defense, elite defense, my butt. They played awful, but they played great when it mattered.
Yeah.
Just got to move on to the next week. That's what it looked like. Hey, it's like with the Rangers, for one game at a time. One game at a time. Not looking at the next week, not looking at the weeks after that. One game at a time. So won't look at too much because it was a pretty ugly week. There wasn't a ton of great matchups. Then week 14, we've got some fun matchups. Now, I have already made my picks as usual. We'll talk about the Cowboy game after we get through with our picks. So, Chase, started off. I've already made them. So, Patriots, Steelers, who are you going with?
Steelers.
Steelers. I went Steelers as well. I know that Pickett's probably injured, but the Patriots are so bad.
I know.
Bucks at Falcons. Who are you going with?
Yeah, this is a big game.
Oh, this is. It's got a lot of NFC South
for that bad division. Who
are you going with?
Man, Bucks at Falcons.
Bucks at Falcons.
Buccaneers.
So we have our first disagreement. I'm going with the Falcons.
Okay.
I'm going Falcons at home. I don't trust the Bucks. I also like to look at the betting because I know Vegas actually does get it right a decent amount of the time.
Mm-hmm.
And I believe that they were I'm going off ESPN bet here. But if we look, Falcons plus minus 2.5, so 2.5 point favorites. So I went Falcons at home. So our first disagreement. All right. We got Colts at Bengals. Colts are a 1 point favorite against the Bengals at home. Who are you going to go with?
I'm going the Bengals.
I am too. Yeah.
Love what I saw out of Jake Browning.
Yeah, Browning looked really good. And they have playmakers, in the Colts. Minshew was just average. He's an average quarterback. Jaguars at Browns. Cleveland is a 3 point favorite with,
no Trevor Lawrence.
Trevor Lawrence potentially being out. He probably will.
I'm going to go with the Browns.
I am too. Now, I want to throw a caveat. Do you want to be able to say that if Lawrence plays that we can both change our picks to the Jags?
If Lawrence plays, give me the Jags.
Yeah, so we're going to say this. If Lawrence both plays, if Lawrence plays, we're both taking the Jags. But I don't think he will, so we're both taking the Browns. Okay, it's all contingent on him playing. Yeah. So we both agree on that one. Texans at Jets. Sounds like Zach Wilson is going to start.
Oh, beauty. Give me the Texans.
Give me the Texans. I know. I'm with you on that one. Rams at Ravens. We got the Ravens at home. That's not much there. The Ravens what were the Ravens? 7 point favorites.
Mm-hmm.
So I like that. Lions at Bears. Lions are 3.5 point favorites over the Bears. What you thinking?
Yeah, give me the Lions.
Yep, me too. Panthers at Saints. Saints are 5 point favorites.
I'm gonna go with the Saints, but geez, man.
That's a rough game.
Yeah.
The Vikings at Raiders. No, it sounds like it.
Dobbs is starting.
It sounds like JJ's back.
Justin Jefferson is back. Dobbs is getting the start.
So I assume. I'm going Vikings. I'll go ahead and tell you that right now. I'm going Vikings.
I'm gonna take Vikings, but I'm going to take Vikings. Yeah. I'm going to take Vikings.
Seahawks at Niners. I'm going with the Niners.
Take Seattle.
No. No.
Give me the Niners.
Give me the Niners, yeah. Bills at Chiefs. We could disagree on this one. Bills at Chiefs. Who are you going with?
You know these games are always classics. So it's like, it's going to be 45-42 with 10 seconds left, and Mahomes has a chance to win the game.
Chiefs are 1.5 favorites, by the way.
I see that,
so it's pretty close.
They're essentially saying that, you know what, anyone can win this game.
They're in Arrowhead, so.
Man.
Who you going with?
Give me the Bills.
All right, so we have a second disagreement.
Give me the Bills.
I'm going Chiefs. I like the Bills. I know they played well. They're coming off a bye, but the Chiefs, man, they are pissed off last week. They got to be angry. So it's either going to come out as they just run through the Bills, or it's going to come out as they falter because they're just so pissed. Broncos at Chargers. I feel we could disagree on this one. Chargers are 3-point favorites.
Yeah, 2.5 on Bleacher Report. What it says.
I don't think the Broncos have any injuries. No injured players. I don't know why everyone's taking the Chargers all of a sudden.
I'm going to take the Chargers.
So we have our third disagreement.
Yeah, I'm going to take the Chargers. I mean, you got to have a bounce back week. I mean, winning the game and putting up 6 points is unbelievable.
See, I think that's just.
They have the two worst coaches in all of football. But I'm going to take the Chargers. That are more talented roster. They are.
Yeah, I'm taking the Broncos.
Okay, I it.
I think Peyton's going to cook Brandon Staley. I think Vance Joseph's going to cook Kellen Moore. I think Russell's going to. I think they were so close last week that they got to win this game.
Yeah. And two Monday night games this week.
Eagles at Cowboys.
I didn't even know that.
I wonder what you're going to go with, Chase.
Eagles and Cowboys. It's like I can look at it here. It's like,
I've already marked
I want to take the Eagles, right? And then,
no. Are you serious?
If I take the Eagles and they win, I get that point. But if they lose, then I'll be happy because Cowboys win.
But you're going to manifest the Eagles win?
No, I'm taking the Cowboys.
Yeah.
I'm taking the Cowboys.
Packers at Giants. I know that I did that. I picked the Niners over the Cowboys, so I did manifest it. So you do what you want. But I'm just saying, if we lose, it's your fault.
No, I'm not manifesting anything. Give me the Cowboys.
I assume we're going to agree on this one, Packers at Giants.
I think we'll agree on the final two. Give me the Packers.
And then Titans at Dolphins.
Give me the
Dolphins. So we have 3 disagreements. So we could we're either going to split. It's either going to be, it could be 2-1 or 3-0. So big matchups. So I need that Buccaneers-Falcons one early so I can secure at least I get one. I don't get swept. That's the big one, and you only gained 1 on me. So a few weeks left. But let's talk about this Cowboys-Eagles game. This is the big one. This is the rivalry week. I do want to notify everyone that a strategy that if I was the Cowboys, if I was the owner, if I ever become the owner of the Cowboys, I'm going to implement a strategy. I'm going to go to some of the colleges. I'm going to hire an intern. Hire about 10 of them. I'm going to pay them $1,000 because $1,000 to me, if I'm a billionaire, does not mean anything.
Right.
I'm going to pay them $1,000 or whatever. I'll pay them even more than that if they need that. And I'm going to have them stand on the sideline. And when the players come off, I'm going to have them start a fight and get the other players ejected. Because apparently that's something that we can do nowadays. Because the Eagles they got Dre Greenlaw out, and it completely fired up the Niners. I'm happy that it went Niners' way. But was it Dom? I don't remember his name. I almost want to say Dom.
Yeah, not him.
Wrong, but it was Dom.
The coach, right?
Some big Philadelphian guy. Had a lot of cheesesteaks, and he's out there for the game. And I was watching it going, "There's no way you can kick Greenlaw out for this." Yeah, he put his hands on him because he got his hands put on. If someone tries to shove me, I may shove back. I mean, that's human nature. I never liked it when they throw guys out for human nature. There's no way a team official should ever put their hands on another player.
Yeah.
Even a coach. No one from the team except the player.
Greenlaw did it first? Sure.
No, he got shoved.
I know. That's what I'm saying. If Greenlaw, if they were talking smack on the sideline or whatever, and then Greenlaw just punches him or pushes him, yes.
Yeah, he should get kicked out for that. But what you're saying to your players as well, if you get your hands put on, you have to just go, oh, shucks.
Yeah.
Don't do that, man. No, these are, man, if you're playing football, your testosterone, your adrenaline is going. Those two things don't mix all that well sometimes. So you're going, everything's moving so fast and you're so amped up that something like that happens, you're going to fly off the handle. Yeah. Fans like to say, well, I wish they could control themselves. Man, it's not easy to be able to control the emotions of a game. I think the Eagles are going to lose. I think they finally got exposed as a fraud football team. the Cowboys, I think if the Cowboys right now played the Niners, it'd be a better game than it was when we played them earlier. I think we're playing a lot different, a lot better
for sure
right now. But we'll see. I think we're going to beat the Eagles. I think we're going to stomp them.
I hope. This is the season. This is the division on the line. I know that the Eagles will still have the 1 seed even if we win because of the conference matchups or conference record. But
yeah. So
this game is still this is if you lose this game, then Eagles aren't losing 2 more games.
Right. This is the important one. So we will see you guys, or Chase will not see you guys. So the plan right now for the winter is I'll be up here during the week, so I will be recording. I'll have Chase's picks. I'll read them off. I'll probably butcher them, so that way I can win. Oh, no, look at this. He took the Patriots over the Chiefs.
Yes.
What a pick. Darn. With my luck, they'd win. But it'll be just me. We're hoping to do an episode before the playoffs start, but before school comes back. So
January 6th is the date. I don't know. I think it's Saturday, maybe?
Yes, it's a Saturday.
So Saturday, January 6th is what we're planning on.
And that'll be recapping college football as well. So there'll be a lot for that episode. But until then, you'll probably just be hearing me. So, ladies and gentlemen, thank you for listening, and we'll see you guys next week. I'll see you guys next week.
See you guys.